Hello everyone, and welcome back. So, for the time being, I've basically turned off all of my add-ons. As usual, when something like this happens, a big event like a pre-patch for an expansion, you're going to get a lot of issues trying to run your usual add-ons with the new version of the game. As usual, when a new patch comes out, it throws off a lot of other content because that content was made for that specific code in that specific version of the game. This is something that is a constant issue that you end up having to deal with if you are, say, somebody who likes to mod your games. And let's say a new version of the game gets released, a new patch. Well, the mods were made for that specific version, that specific code. And now that code has been changed. So now the people who made those mods have to now update their mods to be more compatible with the new version of the game. Now, as I've said before, I know that the authors that work on the mods and the add-ons for World of Warcraft, they are hard at work as we speak, trying to update as many of all the add-ons that are for this game as possible. We're just going to have to give them a little bit of time. Give them at least a week, and then come back to this and try to see if you can get them to run without having too many issues. But keep in mind, some add-ons are probably not going to be continued because there are times where certain add-ons are made for that specific thing, and then when they change that thing, it's then no longer necessary to have those add-ons. This is actually something I've been encountering with Total War Warhammer 3, where certain add-ons or mods were made for something, but then the developers decided to change it or add it into the baseline game, so now it was no longer necessary, so some of those mods get straight up discontinued. So keep that in mind when it comes to sorting out your add-ons for the upcoming expansion. And with that in mind, I thought we should go ahead and take a look at something else that I didn't really show or touch upon the last part, and I'm sure some of you were wanting to see, which is this right here. So first of all, this is no longer the spell book button. This is just the professions button. It's just for your professions because it's now all in this one tab right here. Talents and spell book. So this is the specialization page. This, of course, is the button for looking at your talent trees. And then here's the spell book. Can I just say, mwah! Oh, so much nicer to look at. So better. This is for your specific class, and then, of course, we've got the general one here. Just, oh, it's so much better. It looks so much nicer. And yes, by the way, all of your portals that you have been earning in Mythic Plus are now account-wide. Now, yes, I did earn them on this character, but when I swap to other classes so we can look at them, you will see those are all now part of my account now. All of my characters now have these portals, just account-wide. It's so nice. I'm so happy about that. Anyways, so yeah, you can see here the various different things for your different class. The class over here, and then for the spec over here, anything that you don't have on your bars will be highlighted like this. So yeah, it's so much nicer to look at. Now, as for hero talents, obviously I cannot show you guys this. The only way I could show this to you now is if I was to be able to go to the beta, which I actually can do, because I actually do have the Epic Edition of the game, and you can see I have it because I have Squally here. Hey, Squally! Which, by the way, Squally comes with a quest for you to actually get 3 more versions of himself, as well as another quest, which you can see here, is called the Storm Rider's Bond, which we got from a dwarf. I went and saw a dwarf, and he was like, "Oh, this beauty is no ordinary griffin. It's got a storm within it. I've been trying all day to calm it down. It reminds me of the old Wildhammer myth." It's a Wildhammer dwarf, by the way. Stormbrooks, they were called. Only able to be bonded by griffin riders of great renown. If we can show you that you got the spirit of the storm, maybe it'll open up to you. Try proving yourself in battle. So we have to go around collecting storm spirits from various different creatures on the Dragon Isles, which will then let you be able to get 3 more of these Storm Rider sets, which I can't show you guys in the preview right now, but I can show you the one I already have, which is, hold on, where is it? Where is it? Ah, right here. So this is the one that you actually get, or can get. This is the regular version, and then here's the Thundering version, which you get by doing the races, the courses, with this particular mount that comes with pre-ordering with the War Within. So once you complete the races with that particular mount, that what you get with the Heroic Edition, as it said, then you get this one, which has this kind of lightning to aesthetic to it. But as you can see, by doing this quest, which I will try and do during this pre-patch time, it looks like it will give me 3 more of these, or at least let me choose between the 3 of these, either one. Regardless, you'll be getting some more of those if you have Squally as a pet and he provides you with those quests. Anyways, so we're here to talk about classes. So like I said, unless I go to the beta, I can't show you the talents because it's not available until 71, which I cannot get to until the War Within itself actually launches. So yeah, I won't be able to show you any of the hero talent stuff until War Within actually comes out. We can only look at the changes to the actual talent trees here. So from what I can tell, Demon Hunter was not changed at all. Like, Havoc seems to be completely untouched when it comes to their talent trees, but to be fair, Havoc didn't really need to be changed because it was actually already in a really good spot, and it feels like they wanted to address certain classes that had some issues. So they decided, okay, we're going to go ahead and change the ones that need to be addressed, and, well, Havoc didn't really need to be addressed. They didn't get anything new or flashy or anything like some other classes did. They're just already in a decent spot, though from what I've been hearing, some people are saying they need to be worked on once we actually get to the War Within. They'll actually need to be touched upon and be made better. By the way, I love that I think they changed this image here, where now it's not just Illidan, but a couple more Havoc Demon Hunters right there. Now, if you're curious, well, did they change anything about Vengeance? Well, I don't think so. It looks like Vengeance is also untouched. So, yeah. Even though this is going to continue to be my main in the foreseeable future, it looks like until I actually unlock the hero talent tree, there's nothing I can really show you when it comes to Demon Hunter. So, now, let's talk about the Druid. Oh boy, there's a lot to talk about because, yeah, they got some changes. See, unlike the Demon Hunter and a couple other classes, some classes got massive overhauls and changes. Now, to clarify, this is not some kind of guide. I'm not giving you a guide on these various different things when it comes to these classes and specs. If you want actual guides, there are people who usually do their channels just for guides, and I am not doing a guide here. We are just simply taking a look at some of these, and if I want to share my thoughts on some of these, I'll go ahead and do that. So look at how different the Guardian tree, well, not necessarily the Guardian tree, but look at how different the Druid tree on this side is. Look at how different this looks over here. Yeah. So this is very, very different in terms of where things are right now. Having Astral Influence over here, Rising Light, Falling Night is over here. Here's something that's a little irritating. You have to get either Mass Entanglement or Soul's Vortex if you want to work your way towards getting Stampeding Roar. You can't have something work your way down and then just go ahead and get that. You have to do that. So that is a little irritating. You have to be able to go ahead and move your way down here if you want to also get Skull Bash. I think you had to be able to get these two together in the old one. Wasn't really too fond of the way that was set up. I honestly prefer the way it's set up here. I don't know. Keep in mind, we are 2 days into the pre-patch, so I have no idea what is now considered the top build or anything. I'm not even sure if that stuff is out yet. Keep in mind, we're all trying to learn all these changes to all these classes and kind of figure some stuff out. So I may do some testing with some of these, but honestly, there are others that can do that far better than I do, because a lot of them will dedicate their time and such to that. This was kind of I was starting to kind of mess around because I started to see that some of the changes for things such as Moonfire seemed to be back to actually being a pretty decent thing. So, because I was building some of my stuff, obviously Rage of the Sleeper was part of the previous tier set in Season 3 for the Druid, so it was kind of mandatory. But, you know, plus I was getting things like Flashing Claws to really, like, build on Thrash stacks and such. But then I started to think, well, you know, notice that Moonfire was starting to become a thing again for Guardian Druids, at least I thought it was. So I was like, oh, let me see if I can go ahead and work Moonfire back and kind of get back to being kind of an astral or arcane bear over here. So kind of like move some stuff around to see if I could grab things like Galactic Guardian, Twin Moonfire, Moonless Knight, Elun's Favored, just to see like how effective it can be. No idea if this is the go-to. There are some things that I obviously want to make sure I still had, like after the Wildfire and Dream of Cenarius, just to add to the healing output that a bear druid can do. Now, speaking of healing, and I'm very curious what some of my other guildmates, especially those who are maining, our guildmate Kiralee, shout out to you, Kiralee, if you ever see this, who mains a Resto Druid for our guild. I think she might also play it in Classic, I'm not sure, but I know she plays it when we raid in here in Dragonflight. So I guess I should have also pointed out like what certain things start off baseline. So there are a couple of classes that don't have things baseline, which I think they should. But there are some that do start off with some things baseline, which makes absolute sense. Like obviously, if you're playing Resto, you start off with Rejuvenation as baseline. And then like you also get Wild Growth baseline, which is excellent. You don't have to even put a point there. You just already have it. It's great. So you can be able to go ahead and grab these. You can go ahead and also grab Hibernate for those of you who want to do that for Mythic Plus. I guess we can also grab Starfire and Star Surge for some extra DPS. Astral Influence. Renewal. Let's do that. Natural Recovery. Improved Reju. Let's go ahead and also grab Mass Entanglement for more crowd control. Cyclone, Stamping, Roar. We'll grab Typhoon and Starlight Conduit. Again, I have no idea if these are the meta choices or not. We'll grab Soothe as well. And I guess Urslok's Spirit for when you want to swap to a bear while playing Resto. We'll also grab Lakara's Teachings, which is now only 2 points. Remember, it was 3 points in Dragonflight. Now it's just 2 points. This is an interesting new one. Fluid Form. Shred and Rake can be used in any form and shifting to cat form. Mangle can be used in any form and shifting to bear form. Wrath and Starfire shift you into Moonkin form if known. And then, of course, we have Improved Stamping Roar. So we'll have some other stuff over here for the bear that I had, such as Instincts of the Claw, Oak Skin, there's Well-Honed Instincts, and then over here you can get either Mighty Bash or Incapacitating Roar. I always like Incapacitating Roar for the extra crowd control of disrupting a cast. It's really nice to have in Mythic Plus when you have a big, if you make a big pull, and then you see a bunch of them casting, it's a great way to be able to do another interrupt. I really like doing that as a Guardian Druid. And let's just go ahead and I guess grab these as well. And we'll grab Innervate and Nature's Vigil. We're just going to grab Forest Walk just, for the time being. So just kind of finishing that off. Again, no idea. I'm just kind of putting some points into stuff. Alright, so then over here we start off with Life Bloom for Resto. Omen of Clarity, Ysera's Gift. I always like to also go down here and grab Waking Dream. I've always liked Ysera's Gift. Just has this constant passive healing, and now being able to have it happen more often every 4 seconds, I think is really nice. Flash of Clarity. Keep in mind, I have essentially retired from healing in WoW, so there are others that are much more knowledgeable about this that can actually talk about these things than me. Again, don't take what I'm saying here as any kind of like, oh, this is what I should be doing. No, not from me. Not from someone who is basically retired from healing in WoW. Other than like little low-level stuff, like high-level stuff is the stuff I basically retired from. I basically called it after trying to do the Nyalotha tier. Trying to heal the N'Zoth fight, that was when I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done healing in raids. I am just done healing in raids, and I am not even ever going to attempt healing in Mythic Plus. Not at all. I respect immensely anybody who actually can do that, because I certainly cannot. Grove Guardians, because everyone loves grabbing those trees. It's always interesting, the choices, to see which one is probably better or more effective. Reducing the cooldown, and you take less damage and are immune to knockbacks. Your other cooldowns are reduced. I like Inner Peace, honestly. I like the idea of, like, you take less damage and you're immune to knockbacks, so you can just keep casting even if you get yourself knocked back. It's pretty nice, in my opinion. Cultivation. I like also that a lot of these class changes is only just 1 point instead of 2 points, you know? It allows you to be able to have some more fun with other things, in my opinion. That's 2 points. I'll bet there are some people watching me put points and stuff, and they're just like going, "No, why would you put a point to that?" Again, I'm not. Yeah, I'm just messing with this. Honestly, this is not, you know, because I'm not gonna be playing this spec anytime soon. So. Increase the healing. I always liked Incarnation, turning into a big tree to do a bunch of healing. Mm-hmm. Ah, Invigorate. That's Reju. I'll bet there's some other ones here you can add that are really effective. And I'm just like, you know. So I've had to also make sure I do it, because the pre-patch also kind of messed up with a lot of our interface stuff, so I had to re-add my action bars and kind of like mess around with my UI a bit. Keep in mind this also without any of my actual add-ons, that I had to turn everything off, so yeah. So, that's Resto. Feral. A spec I have always wanted to actually be good at and just never have. So it looks like, for the most part over here, that the Feral tree seems to be mostly the same. Again, it's mainly the Druid tree that has changed. Like, it looks like a lot of the stuff here in Feral is already the same. So. And then there's balance. Let's look at balance. So balance obviously got some changes here, as you can see. Let's go ahead and redo this tree here. So we get Eclipse at the very beginning. There's Solar Beam and Starfall. Twin Moons. Celestial Alignment. I like Orbital Strike. I've been messing with it in Remix. I just like having this big beam from the sky just hit my enemies in a line and apply Stellar Flare on them. I just think it looks really cool. I like to go for stuff that looks cool as opposed to whether or not it's like the actual like meta choice or not. You know, sometimes you just gotta pick stuff that you're just having fun with as opposed to whatever is the actual like meta choice. Like, just have some fun sometimes, you know? Alright, so then this to grab... usually I like Incarnation in certain other, like a couple of the other specs, but Convoke, go Burr, remember those days? And then we have to go over here, Power of Goldrin, which I like the idea of getting a Spirit of Goldrin help out. And then one of my favorites from Legion, New Moon. So we can also get a full moon, which I just always thought was really great and really cool back in Legion. Wild Mushroom. I don't think I've ever like messed with this. I'm curious what any balanced Druid players have to say about it. So, yeah. It's kind of the same, but also a little different, you know? That's kind of what's going on there when it comes to balance. So, Druid obviously has gotten some class tree changes there. Now, let's look at the Death Knight. And oh boy, is there some fun stuff I saw when it comes to Unholy especially. The changes for the other specs seem fine. Like, you can see here, DK got quite a bit of a overhaul when it came to its trees here. Veteran of the Third War is only 1 point now, as you can see. They've moved stuff from down here to up here, like Unholy Bond. You can just go ahead and grab it up here if you want. They added some new stuff that wasn't here before. Things like Null Magic, as well as Vestigial Shell. It's a really interesting idea here, this talent, that you can be able to cast AMS and then have it go to nearby allies as well. Very interesting idea. I, of course, get A-bomb them, because of course I'm going to grab Slappy Hands as a DK. Now, as far as they've moved some things around here when it comes to the blood tree. For one thing, they've moved down here to Blood Drinker and Consumption, which I thought was very interesting. The idea that some of these are actually going to be like more like actual legit choices, which I'm probably going to have to change this around because I really want to have Purgatory. I really do like that. It's a shame when you see a bunch of stuff that you're like, oh man, like I would want that, but I have to, you know, not take a point out of something else over here, and you know, you just see a whole bunch of stuff and you're having to figure it out. So obviously I'll try to figure out what's going on with blood and see like what the tree is. But let me show you the stuff for Unholy, especially since I play a lot more Unholy than I do Blood or Frost. There's some stuff here for Unholy that made me very happy. So Dark Transformation has been moved up here, and Apocalypse is up here as well. Now, some stuff is still in the same place, like Clawing Shadows is still right here, All Will Serve is still over here. Unholy Pact is over here now, and Mages of the Dead is over here. Now, Army of the Dead is over here, but this is where things get fun. So, for one thing, I want you to notice something that has changed about Army of the Dead. You know, look at the cooldown. It is now a 3-minute cooldown instead of an 8-minute cooldown. But that's not the only thing. Now you can replace it with this. So, for those who don't know, this was actually a PvP talent. They actually had this as a PvP talent for a long time, and it was one of those things that where I would use it whenever I would go into PvP as a DK, just so I could see it in action, just because I thought it looked really cool, you know? Who doesn't want a giant abomination like a patchwork for yourself attacking your enemy? So, here's one of the main things about that makes it where it's probably a good idea to grab this instead of Army of the Dead, is that it wanders around, attacks enemies, and applies Festering Wounds when it melees targets and affects all those nearby with Virulent Plague. Now, keep in mind, there are some other things here that can let you do some really nice, fun, effective stuff with your diseases as an Unholy DK. You know, like, there's now Festering Scythe, which allows you to be able to sweep through enemies in front of you, dealing shadow damage and infecting them with more Festering Wounds, which, combined with some other stuff, can let you do some really nasty stuff. The idea that when I was watching this guide that someone made, I forget what the channel was, but what the things that he was talking about, why he thought Unholy was now probably one of the most fun melee specs to play in the game, is the idea was that they have made it where now you can ramp up your damage faster and sooner as an Unholy DK compared to before, where it would take a while for your spec to get going to actually do some damage, unless you just popped all your cooldowns right at the very beginning, and then request a cooldown. Not that I may think of anyone in particular. James! Love you, James. James is a guildmate who mains an Unholy DK, and let's just say we have some gags and jokes about James, but it's all in good fun. We love James. But I'm curious to know what he thinks about some of these changes. I know I personally love some of these changes. I love this talent to change Army of the Dead to an abomination to allow it where it's not just a 30-second duration of an enemy. Plus, it's only a 1.5 minute cooldown instead of a 3-minute cooldown. So you're cutting the duration, the cooldown in half, and it's not just a bunch of ghouls. It's a big abomination that also spreads more diseases and festering wounds and virulent and does more damage to virulent plagues and stuff. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. There's some other really great stuff you can do as well, like decomposition, where it has a chance to abruptly flare up. Again, I'm sure like there's a better like setup when it comes to talents for this, but some of these things I was just seeing, I was just like, yo, that looks really cool. I'm really excited about that. And lastly, Frost. I mean, Frost has some stuff. Again, it's stuff moved around and stuff that lets you be able to put just 1 point instead of 2. Like, you only need 1 point for Frost Whelp's Aid now. Frostworm's Fury is now up here. And Breath of Sindragosa is way down here. But I don't know if it's better now. I may move some stuff around, but then again, I don't really play Frost that much. Like, obviously, I didn't put a point to Horn of Winter. I used to really like Glacial Advance or Frost Scythe, but after a while, it was just kind of like, those aren't really that great or effective, you know? I've always just much rather preferred Unholy instead of Frost. That's just me. But that's mainly because I've always just enjoyed the pet aspect. So anyways. That's the DK. And by the way, that doesn't even include some of these stuff for the hero talents, like Rider of the Apocalypse, which is going to let you be able to utilize the 4 Horsemen, which was a thing you could do in Torghast, which I loved, by the way. You could actually grab a talent when you went through Torghast as a DK to have the 4 Horsemen, like, fight alongside you the whole time. It was great. I loved that. Alright, now let's look at the Paladin. So, Ret didn't really get that many changes from what I can see. Ret is essentially the same as it was before, except with a couple of notable changes. Retribution Aura is gone. You notice that, right? Retribution Aura is no longer a thing for Paladins, including Ret. Which is kind of a, whoa, kind of change, but, you know. Yeah, also, looks like Wake of Ashes was actually moved down here. Also, here's another thing. Shield of Vengeance is not a thing anymore. That's gone. I was even checking here earlier. I was like, where is Shield of Vengeance? It's just gone. That's no longer a talent. So you no longer have to worry about that or deal with that or be concerned about that. That is not something you have to deal with. Also, Radiant Glory here is now a passive. So you don't have to have that there anymore. But, yeah. Like, there are some things that are just gone or baseline, and some things are just, like, you know. So, it's for the most part the same, except for those couple of little changes there here and there. And that's gonna be the same thing with the other specs here on for the Paladin as well. You can see that this tree is mostly the same, except, like I said, no talent for grabbing Retribution Aura. That's not a thing. But then when it comes to Prot, it's mainly the same, except with, like I said, there are some things that used to be here that are no longer an actual thing, so you don't have to actually put points into them. Like, Eye of the Eye of Tyr is still down here. Gift of the Golden Valkyr. But yeah, that's one of the big notable things I noticed, was that Retribution Aura is no longer a thing. And for the most part, in case you're curious, and I checked this on one of my other Paladins that I actually have tried playing Holy on, it's also basically the same with Holy as well. Like, there's some stuff here, like, obviously Tyr's Deliverance is still here, the Beacons are still here. So there's a lot of stuff that's mainly still here. There's just a couple of other things that are not there anymore. They don't really have to concern yourself with anymore. So Paladin didn't get a massive change like other classes. It's already in a pretty good spot, as you guys probably know. So, yeah. Alright, now let's talk about the Mage. And I'm sure my buddy Nos, or Nos, as in Nosferatu, Shout out to you, buddy. Could speak on this a bit more than I could because he actually mains Mage more so than I do. He actually mainly mains a Arcane Mage. So, here's one of the big notable changes. You remember that talent that down here that let you be able to cast Time Warp when it was on cooldown just for yourself? That's gone. That's no longer a thing. Instead, it's replaced by this. Inspired Intellect. Arcane Intellect grants you an additional 3% intellect. So, I never used to like that one anyway. I always used to pick this one, Time Anomaly. I like the idea of just randomly getting either a Time Warp, Icy Veins, or Brain Freeze for a small period of time. Just, just to kind of like occasionally be like, oh, hey, I got a buff now, for a bit of time. I liked that. I didn't like casting my Time Warp when it was on cooldown while we're still having, feeling fatigue. So this is a very interesting change here. And when it comes to this tree over here, I mean, Common Storm is over here, Glacial Spike's here, Ray of Frost is over here. Like, there's some interesting kind of like, oh, they moved some stuff over here and such. Not really sure. Now, as far as Arcane goes, again, I feel like my buddy Nos would be able to talk about this a lot more than I could since he actually mains Arcane. And I'm very curious to what he thinks about it. Now, Arcane of these specs is the one I have played the least, so I feel like I can talk about the least amount. But, like, some things just got kind of moved around. Like, Enlightened, which was actually one of my favorite Arcane talents, is now down here. And it seems to be less effective. I think they nerfed it. While it's below 70%, your mana regen is increased by 20%. I think it used to be more than that. A lot more than that, from what I recall. So they probably were like, okay, that's too much. Let's bring it down to, like, just, I don't know, 20%. That seems fine, I suppose. At least that's what I probably think was going on. But here's another fun one. Look at this. You remember how you had to, like, activate Arcane Familiar as an hour-long buff? Well, no longer. It's just a passive where now when you cast Arcane Intellect, it will just summon the Familiar. So now you get the Arcane Familiar along with... See, right here. It used to be something I had to click on along with Arcane Intellect. No more. I can get rid of that. Because now it's just right there. It's just passive whenever I do Arcane Intellect. Boop. And it's just going to be there. That's great. Love that. So, yeah. Now, Fire. So for a long time I was really trying to, like, focus on Fire. And I know someone else that also mains a Fire Mage, and I would love to get her thoughts about these changes. And I may hit her up about that at some point and just, like, poke at her brain on those things and be like, so what do you think about some of these changes to Fire? But, like, Pyroblast is up here, Phoenix Flames, Fire Blast, some other stuff like Mastery of the Phoenix and Call of the Sun King are all right up here. Here's something that's interesting. Living Bomb is no longer an actual talent you can choose. Instead, it's called Lit Fuse, where you consume a hot streak, and it gives you a chance to grant Lit Fuse, which is that your next Fire Blast will turn up to one nearby enemy target into a Living Bomb. So that's basically how Living Bomb works now. And then there are some other things you can get here, like the Living Bomb Explosion will have a chance to increase the damage of your next Pyroblast or Flame Strike. Your chance of gaining a Lit Fuse when consuming a hot streak is now increased by another 10%, and the Living Bomb damage is increased by 25%. There's some stuff here that let you be able to really, like, you can either get Flame Patch, which is what it used to be, or you can just Quick Flame, which just increases it by 20%. Convection, Mark of the Fire Lord, Flame Strike, and Living Bomb apply Mastery Ignite at 100% increased effectiveness, which just seems kind of like incredibly strong. Scorch is over here with some other stuff to really buff up Scorch. And then, of course, there's Combustion. Flame Accelerant is up here now. It used to be, like, down here. Now it's over here. There's Flame On if you want to get the other charges for Flame Strike. Critical Mass is up here. So some stuff got moved around. Well, some stuff is like Sun King's Blessing is still here at the bottom. Meteor is over here now instead of over here. Hypothermia is here. Phoenix Reborn is over here. So it's some very interesting changes here. Here's Alexstrasza's Fury. And then here's one that caught my attention. Ashen Feather. If Phoenix Flames only hits one target, it deals 25% increased damage and applies Ignite at 150% effectiveness. So if you have a lot of Mastery and a lot of Ignite, that's pretty good, at least on paper. Like, in my initial reaction just seems like, oh man, that seems really great. I have no idea, like, in terms of if it's actually good or not. I have a feeling I may look up some stuff and people are going to be like, it's not worth taking. Like, it doesn't sim well enough, you know? Like, I don't know, like, to me, if you combine that with some of the other talents that is like, hey, if you, hit, like, how combine that with Intensifying Flame, that while Ignite is on 3 or fewer enemies, it flares up, dealing additional 20% of its damage to affected targets. It just seems like that could be some fun single target stuff, you know? That's just my initial impression. Like, I would love to mess around with that and see what that's going to be like. So that's Mage. Mage got quite a bit of a change. I definitely recommend checking out Mage. So now let's talk about the Warlock. So, I haven't looked at the Destro tree that much. I did look at both the Affliction and the Demo tree. I really want to talk about the Demo tree. Demonology got some fun stuff. So, I'll talk about Demo in a minute. I want to save Demo for last. Let's go to Destro first. I want us to talk about Demo last. So, Warlock. The Warlock got some interesting changes. So, you'll see Soul Leech is now here at the bottom. Or, I'm sorry, at the bottom. Not the bottom. It's at the top, and it's baseline. As in, you don't have to put a point into it for any of the specs. That is what you start off with as all 3 specs of Warlock. It's the other 2 that you then have to start putting points in. And if you want, this is where you can get Demonic Circle. If you want to get the Demonic Gateway, you have to grab Wrathful Minion. The Curse is over here. Banish is over here. There's some stuff that, in the same spots. Dark Pact is now over here. Shadow Fury, and of course, Dark Fury is over here. And, some stuff over here is basically the same. Here's one of the new ones that caught my attention. This is a fun one. Pact of Gluttony. Health stones you conjure for yourself are now demonic health stones and can be used multiple times in combat. Demonic health stones cannot be traded. It instantly restores 35% health and has a 60-second cooldown. Can you guys believe that? So, anyone who's played a Warlock knows that you can only use your cookies, as I like to call them. Some people call them rocks, some people call them cookies. I like to call them cookies. So, you can only use your cookie, or health stone, one time during a fight. Like during a raid boss battle, you can only have it once. Warlocks can now use them more than once during a fight. And it's a 60-second cooldown. That just seems great. I also love that it added the text to clarify to people, you cannot trade these to the people in your group. So you can't, you're not going to be able to go to your Warlock and be like, hey, trade me a Demo Health Stone or Demo Cookie. Nope, they can't do it. They're not allowed to. But I just love that is a thing. That's a really cool, fun new talent for Warlocks to have. So over here we start off with Conflag, and there's Rain of Fire. A lot of this stuff is kind of the same. Cataclysm's right over here. Indiscriminate Flames with Backdraft. Rolling Havoc. This is where you can get Shadowburn over here. If you want to get the Grimoire Sacrifice, that's right there. There's Channel Demon Fire. And then Summon Infernals right here in the middle, which is interesting. There's Crashing Chaos and Reign of Chaos. If you're wondering, it looks like that talent that let you get that other one, that's gone. So that's no longer a thing. So you work your way down here. Oh, so it looks like Ritual of Ruin. Okay, so there's Ritual of Ruin. Again, I don't think the other one that we used to be able to get is here anymore. So here's Dimensional Rift from Legion, which I always liked. But a lot of people seem to be like, it's not worth getting. Oh, let's talk about that in a second. So then we go over here. We've got, there's Soulfire if you want to grab that. So Avatar of Destruction. Consuming Ritual Rain summons an Overfiend for 8 seconds, which generates a Soul Shard Fragment every half second and casts Chaos Bolt 8% effectiveness at its summoner's target. Alright, so hold on a second, because I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Actually, let me go ahead and... Like, why is there a talent there? Get that out of there. There we go. Let me go ahead and grab some of these, just to kind of, like, move our way down here. We'll grab those. Oh, this is the one that lets you have an additional Infernal for 8 seconds. That's nice. I like that. More haste. That's always nice. Alright, I want to see this this Overfiend. So I'm grabbing these just so I can have them and show them off. Alright. So let's just go ahead and grab these and kind of mess with them a bit. So, consuming Ritual of Ruin. Alright, so let's go ahead and start... Obviously, everybody's messing with the dummies. Why wouldn't you, you know? Look, I always liked Dimensional Rift from Legion. I always loved it. It was one of the reasons why Destro was like my main spec back in Legion. I really liked it. There's the Overfiend. Wait, no, that's the Dark Lair. There's the Overfiend. The other Warlock's Dark Lair got in the way. But yeah, that was the Overfiend right there. You saw it right there. That's great. I love that. So he generates a fragment every half second and casts Chaos Bolt at 80% effectiveness at the target. Gotcha. Okay. Alright, so now let's go to Affliction. So yeah, a little bit of change over here, mainly with the Demonic Health Stone and this stuff up here. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and grab those. As far as Affliction, I mean, up here, it's kind of mainly the same. You know, there's some other stuff here. This seems to be like, okay, we'll grab Vile Taint, and we can continue working on Malefic Rupture over here on this side. I always prefer Shadow Bolt instead of Drain Soul. I do. I just do. So we've got the Dark Lair here in the middle. Haunt is over here. Soul Rot is over here. And we've got things like Malefic Touch, Ravenous Afflictions, Dark Harvest. This is a new one that caught my attention. I wonder if this is going to be the new hotness for Affliction. Oblivion. Unleash wicked magic upon your target's soul, dealing damage over 3 seconds. Deals 10% more damage, up to 30% per damage over time effect that you have active on your target. So if you have, like, I guess it's what, 3 of those dots on them, then you'll be able to do like at least 30% or something like that. I'm sure someone's gonna figure out the math, but I'm just wondering about like if this is gonna be like the new hotness for Affliction Warlock. So now let's talk about demonology. Oh, this has some. So I really liked how Demo was at the beginning of Dragonflight. I really did. Oh, I really liked it. And I was not happy when they changed it. So one of the things I loved about how Demo was when it started is out. You guys remember the Nether Portal stuff over here? Well, one of my favorite things about it early on was the talent down here that let you be able to summon a Pit Lord when the Nether Portal expired. And the way it worked early on was you summoned the Nether Portal, and then you used every ability you had that summoned some different type of demon. And every one that you were summoned while the Nether Portal was active would contribute to the eventual pit lord that would be summoned from the portal. And based on how many demons you summoned during that portal's time that was active, would increase the damage that pit lord would do. So if, let's say, during that whole 10 seconds that it was up, that you summoned a whole bunch of them, he would come out and he would start hitting like a truck. It was just so awesome to see him come out, and he would just pummel your enemy because you summoned a whole bunch. And then by the end, you had this gigantic army. And it was just so great to see. And then they changed it and ruined it, in my opinion. They then did this thing where now he then came out and he just shot this beam. And it wasn't stronger based on how many you summoned during the portal's time. It just was there. And I was just so upset about that. I was so disappointed. I was like, Blizzard, it was already nice. Why'd you ruin it? So now, you can see the demo tree is very different. Implosion is way up here now, so you basically have to take Implosion. They also have, Bile Scourge Bombers and Demonic Strength over here. They also have the talent right down here about having Bile Scourge Bombers. Whenever you are doing any of your spells, it can just summon one of them. So they have Grimoire Felguard right here. The Demonic Tyrant is right here in the middle. And Power Siphon is over here now, which is interesting. And then we get down to some of these others. Expendables is now over here. Some of the other stuff like Fell Sunder and Fiendish Oblation are there. There's the Antoran Armaments. The Vile Fiend is down here now. And then Doom is over here as well. Now, I've never really liked Doom because it felt like it was just kind of like this thing you had to make sure was lined up correctly. Otherwise, it just did nothing, you know? But they've now kind of like made some changes where it is going to do some damage and such, which is great. And now it's also going to be able to do this. Pact of the Arid Ruin, or the Era Druin. When Doom expires, you have a chance to summon a Doom Guard that will cast 5 Doom Bolts before departing, and each Doom Bolt deals a lot of shadow damage. But then here's some other fun stuff here. For the Vile Fiend. It increases the damage it does, and the Bile Spit now applies Wicked Maw, which will also, you can also have cause them to take additional amount of shadow damage from all your demons. You can have it where your Dreadstalkers deal more damage while the Vile Fiend is active, and the attack speed of Dreadstalkers and the critical strike chance will get stronger. But then here's the fun one. How many of you remember the Hound pets from Taurus the Burning Throne? You can now have your Vile Fiend be either a Gloom Hound or a Char Hound. The Char Hound deals passive fire damage. The Gloom Hound does shadow damage with its melee attacks. And if you're wondering, yes, it changed the icon because then when you summon it, it's just a full-on Gloom Hound. And I love that. That's so great. I love that so much. I would love if like the top build for Demo allows you just kind of like take these talents down here and just really buff up. Like, in fact, I'll do this just because the idea that you combine this with a Wicked Maw and the fact that it's doing more shadow damage and you have the Wicked Maw and it'll just like let them take more shadow damage from you. That just seems pretty great. Just saying. I think that seems pretty great. I'll obviously mess around with this because let's just say being able to not only have a Gloom Hound but also let Doom, because it's just a passive. We don't have to cast Doom. It's just a passive. Whenever Demon Bolt consumes a core, it will inflict impending doom. So this is just part of that. You know how you use Demon Bolt whenever you get that demonic core to be able to get a free proc of it. So now whenever you do that, it's going to just cast impending doom on your target. So that's really nice. I really want to play some more Demo. In fact, I made a fresh Warlock in Remix, which I may just level as Demo. I was thinking about leveling her as a Destro Lock, but honestly, with these changes, forget that. I'm just going to go ahead and stick with Demo because it just seems like it's going to be a lot of fun to play. All right, now let's see what do we talk about next? Let's talk about the Warrior. This is going to be a long one, because obviously I'm going through all these classes, just kind of talking about them. Some of them I don't really have to talk about that much, but some got so many changes, it's like it's at least worth showing, you know? So, Warrior. got a lot of a massive change to their trees here. You can see things like Heroic Leap is up here, Intervenes over here, Leeching Strike, War Machine, Fast Footwork, Impending Victory. Second Wind is over here now. Intimidating Shouts over here, Spell Reflection, Rallying Cry, Shockwave is up here now. And Crackling Thunder along with Thunderclap is over here along with Stormbolt. Bitter Immunity is right there. Like, there's some very interesting, like, redirection of some of these things here. There's no longer 4 of these things here. The Thunderous Roar is over here, Avatar is over here, and Champion Spear is over here. Again, any of these builds you see, keep in mind some of these were already predetermined by the game when these changes were made, and this is not exactly what I would probably, like, go entirely myself. They're just kind of here, just so I'm just showing you the trees, honestly. Whether or not I have these things spec'd in this, that's a whole different thing. But we also have Ignore Pain up here, Revenge, Demoralizing Shout, this stuff is kind of mostly the same where it was before, honestly. Ravager's over here, Shield Charge is over here. So some of the stuff is basically the same on for the Prot tree over here. Now let's talk about Fury. Fury, oh my goodness, Fury. So, I want to draw your attention to something. So you'll notice some of the stuff like Bloodthirst is here, and then Raging Blow is over here. And we look down here, some of these things over here. And Onslaught is over here. Odin's Fury is over here now. And stuff to buff up Recklessness. And then look at this. There's Ravager and Bladestorm. They gave Fury Bladestorm back. Oh, mwah, thank you, Blizzard. Thank you. I don't know about you, but I just thought it was kind of silly that they gave Bladestorm only to arms, and Fury didn't have Bladestorm, which didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, come on, Fury, of course, can absolutely do Bladestorm. But anyways, I don't know if any other warriors out there feel the same way. I just felt like it made sense for Fury to be able to do Bladestorm if they want. So they gave it Fury Bladestorm back. So, yay. As far as arms, so Mortal Strike, Overpower, Die by the Sword, Colossus Smash, Warbreaker, hey! Congrats to my guildmates. And you can be able to choose between Ravager and Bladestorm down here. There's Cleave. So yeah, this stuff is kind of like mainly the same. It's kind of this stuff like where these things are positioned that's a little, you know, messed around and different and such, you know? So anyways. That's one of the things that I immediately noticed, you know, when it came to Warriors, that Fury has Bladestorm back, which made me happy personally. So now let's talk about the Priest. Now, I've actually only looked at Shadow, honestly, so looking at the other two specs will be kind of like new for me. I'm curious about a couple of other my guildmates who one plays Holy, one plays Discipline, what their thoughts are about those changes. I usually just play Shadow, because like I said, I kind of retired from healing. Shadow seems to mainly be the same as it was before, except for one notable change. Also, why... Get that out of here. So there's something missing that you probably didn't notice over here on the talent tree over here. Mind Games is gone. Yes, they actually like got rid of Mind Games. It's no longer an actual thing over here. So that's a very interesting change that they went ahead and did that. But that's essentially like one of the only changes that they made here, it looks like to me. That they didn't... they decided to get rid of Mind Games, apparently. Alright, let's take a look at Discipline. Again, I'm not very familiar with these other two trees. I'm just kind of showing them to see, like, you know, hey, let's look at how different they might be. I honestly don't know, like, how different these over here are. I'll ask my friend Calamity, who mainly plays Discipline on her Priest, what she thinks about any of the changes that are going on over here when it comes to Discipline. And then Holy. And then there is one of our officers known as Dharma. she mains a holy. She's mained a holy, I think, since Wrath is what I think she told me. And she is our best main holy priest in our guild. And I'm very curious about what she thinks. Lightwell is still right here. It's still here. Gotta love the good old classic Lightwell, right? Don't worry, we don't have to click on it anymore. I'm aware of that gag from back in Burning Crusade. Oh, man. So there's Light of the Naru still there. Again, I'm not the one to talk to when it comes to the changes to Holy Priest. My friend Dharma is going to be the one that I will have to converse with about how she feels about those changes. And now let's talk about the Monk. And boy, did Monk also get some massive changes. Forgive me, I'm also trying to eat some of my dinner as I'm doing this. So, as you can probably already tell, the Monk class for both trees got quite a bit of changes. So, baseline, it looks like for the specs, you get Rising Sun Kick and Paralysis baseline. I already looked at this in one of my other monks that I mainly play Mistweaver on, which doesn't get Soothing Mist, and that makes no sense to me, that a Mistweaver would not have Soothing Mist baseline. Why does a Mistweaver have to talent into Soothing Mist? That makes zero sense to me. Of all of the changes they could have made here, why that one? I don't understand that. You'll also notice down here you don't get to choose between the 3 different statues. You just get what the statue of whatever your spec is right here. So in the case of a Brewmaster, it's the Black Ox statue. If I swap to Mistweaver, it would be the Jade statue, and Windwalker, the Tiger statue. So those are some of the notable changes I was spotting here. Some of the other stuff, though, is basically the same. Yu'lon's Grace is over here. Dance of the Wind is over here. Blah, 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 blah. Ring of Peace is still right here in the middle. So some stuff is still the same, but some stuff has definitely been changed. Windwalking is down here now, so. Keg Smash, obviously, you start off with up here, along with Purifying Brew. There's Rushing Jade Wind over here. Zen Meditation is still over here, though I never use it. I just don't like how it feels, honestly. Celestial Brew, Breath of Fire, the talent to reset the cooldown when you use Keg Smash still here, which goes great with the current tier set at the end of Dragonflight. There's the Invoke New Zao over here in the middle still, along with some other stuff to continue buffing that as well. Exploding Keg, I loved that from Legion. I thought that was great. Ox Stance, this is something I think that's new. Ox Stance. Casting Purifying Brew grants a charge of Ox Stance, which is increased based on stagger level. When you take damage that is greater than 40% of your current health, a charge is consumed to increase the amount you stagger. And then you can buff it up even more, where if you do Rising Sun Kick, you get a charge of Ox Stance. Ox Stance will now trigger when an attack is larger than 40% of your current health. And then there's some stuff over here as well that you can be able to work on, like Press Advantage or Weapons of Order if you want to grab those things. This is kind of like what I like to usually use when it comes to Brewmaster. I like really buffing up my Mastery and Stagger. It just makes me feel more comfortable about playing this spec. Now let me take a look at the Mistweaver again, because this was the only other one I looked at. I haven't looked at Windwalker yet, actually. But as I was saying before, Mistweaver, as you can see, does not get Soothing Mist baseline. I do not understand that decision by Blizzard. Like, of all these specs that you could have this be, why? I don't understand that decision. But like I said, the Jade Serpent statue is here for Mistweaver. Enveloping Mist, Renewing Mist, Thunder Focus Tea, there's the Mana Tea, there's the choice between Revival and Restoral, Life Cocoons over here. You work your way down here to the Celestials, either Chi-Ji or Yu'lon, and stuff to continue buffing it. Those are still there. Shaylun's Gift is still over here, along with the things you can grab to buff it, like Xiao Hao's Lessons. So yeah, some of these things are mainly the same. Jadefire Stomp is over here now. Now let's take a look at Windwalker. I'm curious if there's anything new or flashy or such when it comes to Windwalker over here. Again, that stuff is still there. This stuff is mainly the same. And then there's the... Oh, this is interesting. The Summon White Tiger statue is a passive now. Invoke Zuen, the White Tiger, will now also spawn a statue at your location. That's interesting. So you no longer have to place the statue down. It just passively just summons that statue when you use Invoke Zuen, the White Tiger. That's interesting. I will certainly be messing with this because I did make a monk for remix that I wanted to level. So I will probably be leveling him as a Windwalker so I can mess around with it. Fists of Fury is up here at the very top. That's the first thing you get. Along with some other stuff down here as well as you continue moving down. And there's the Storm, Earth, and Fire. Heed my call. Strike of the Windlord. Strike with both fists at all enemies. Yep, that's from Legion. I remember that. There's Invoke Zuen. Whirling Dragon Punch. Performs a devastating whirling upward strike, dealing damage to all nearby enemies and an additional amount of damage to the first target struck. Only usable while both Fist Fury and Rising Kick are on cooldown. Interesting. Some other stuff to buff it and make it stronger. Fury of Zuen. The combo strikes. Interesting. I will certainly be looking forward to messing around with that. Seeing how effective that feels. Alright. A few more left. Now let's talk about my former main, the Shaman. So right away, I want to point something out to you guys. Shaman now has a new buff that they can give to allies. Sky Fury. Harness the Fury of the Windlord to grant a target ally 2% mastery and empower their auto attacks to have a 20% chance to instantly strike again for 1 hour. If the target is in your party or raid, all party or raid members will be affected. Shamans now provide a raid-wide buff. Yeah! Sky Fury is now a raid-wide buff for Shamans. For all specs. Wow. Also, you'll notice that Wind Fury Totem is gone! No, it's gone! And we all take a moment of silence for Wind Fury Totem. May it once again rest in peace. As it did for so long. Look, I joke, but obviously Wind Fury has quite a history and legacy when it comes to this game. So, I know there are plenty of people who loved having Wind Fury Totem, and especially back in the day. But it is gone now. But hey, we now have this cool new buff now, Sky Fury. So, that's going to be another reason to bring Shamans to the group, right? Another raid-wide buff for the group. That sounds nice. Hey, Shaman, can you buff the group? That's going to take a while for Shamans to get used to, the idea that they are providing a raid-wide buff compared to other classes. So this is another reason to bring Shamans. Not just Bloodlust, but also Sky Fury! Which I think is really cool, that idea. But yeah, you can see also, Shaman's got quite a bit of a change here. Winds of Alakir up here, Spirit Wolf is up here, Spirit Walk is up here. They moved those from down here to up here. Earth Elemental. This is a new Primordial Bond. You gain damage reduction while your Elemental is active. Nature's Guardian is over here. It only needs 1 point now. Some other stuff here. Of course, there's Wind Rush Totem. Some stuff is still in their same place as before, like those totems and Mana Spring. This seems to be a new one right here. The Stone Bulwark Totem. Summons a totem with health at the feet of the caster for 30 seconds, granting the caster a shield that absorbs damage for 10 seconds and up to an additional amount of damage every 5 seconds on a 2-minute cooldown. Kind of seems like that other totem that you can give, that I think Resto Shamans have. In fact, we'll go ahead and check that out in a second, just to be sure. But you can enhance the weapon imbuements here by 15% more. So let's say I want to go ahead and do this. So now they have a chance to deal additional amount of physical damage with Flame Tongue. No, wait, no, that's the buff, not Flame Tongue. So if that I have that talent, let's see. Trying to see. 31% chance to trigger 3 extra attacks dealing physical damage. And then where's the other one? Flame Tongue. Dance to deal 268 additional fire damage. I mean, it's supposed to be 15% more effective, but I don't know. It might be showing that properly. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah. So Feral Spirits here, Crash Lightning. Flurry was moved from the Shaman tree to the Enhancement tree over here, which to me makes perfect sense. Why would you want this when you are either a Resto or an Elemental, right? But anyways. So I grabbed a couple of these just messing around with the new tree. This is not the tree I was using in Dragonflight. Again, things got completely refunded for some of these classes that had these full-on reworks here. So yeah. So that's Enhancement. Let me show you Resto, just so I can also clarify what I was talking about. So what I was thinking that this sounded to me like here, it sounded to me like this one right here, the Earthen Wall Totem, which I guess now as a Resto Shaman, you could provide both Earth Wall Totem and Stone Bulwark Totem. Which just seems like really nice, effective, like, hey, I have all these totems for all these different things that can provide tons of shielding and damage reduction. That seems pretty awesome. And for the most part, although it looks like Primordial Wave is way down here at the bottom for Resto. Ascendance over here, and High Tide is way down here now, so that's some of the stuff that got moved around here. Overflowing Shores, Deluge, Healing Rain, Acid Rain, Essential Vigor, Resurgence. Yeah. A number of things that got moved around here. Now let's look at Elemental. So, right away, one of the things I noticed about the Elemental tree, look at this. You choose between either Earth Shock or Elemental Blast. Why is it Earth Shock? Elemental Blast, of course. I say that, look, I've always preferred Elemental Blast, personally. And I just find it interesting that that's like a choice right at the bat. Now, this confused me right here at the beginning. Look at this. Now, when you look at these, it looks like they're exactly the same, right? And they basically are. Earthquake, they're both exactly the same, except for one thing. Look at the bottom text. This spell is cast at your target. This spell is cast at a target selected location. And that's the only difference. You want it to be either at a targeted location or at your target. That's the only difference there. Storm and Fire Elemental, right here as well as a choice. You work way down here towards the middle. You get a couple other things. You get Stormkeeper, there's Ascendance. Primordial Wave is over here along with Liquid Magma Totem if you want to grab that. Now here's something I think that's new that I didn't see before. This is a new imbuement for your shield if you're going to be using a shield as an Elemental Shaman. Thunderstrike Ward. Imbue your shield with the element of lightning for 1 hour, giving Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning a chance to call down 2 Thunderstrikes on your target for nature damage. As far as I know, this is the first time I've ever seen a shield imbuement in this game. If there's anyone who knows about it, by all means let me know in the comments, but my goodness. Yeah, that just seems, that seems interesting. Since, of course, you're not going to be dual-wielding, so they're like, well, rather than just have the one imbuement here, you can also go ahead and give your shield an imbuement, right? Seems very interesting. Now, the Hunter. Woo, boy. I am so curious how... Oh, hey, congrats to whoever got the legendary staff. Very nice. I am so curious how some of the hunter mains in my guild feel about these changes. From what I have heard, survival here, and yes, I'm one of those who actually really like survival, which for some people they were just like, what's wrong with you? But from what I've heard, survival is now really good. You can see the hunter tree over here, quite different. A kill shot up here, post haste, natural mending. Number of these other things here, tar trap, tranquilizing shot. There's muzzle, survival of the fittest, explosive shot, binding shot, intimidation. There's camouflage. Here you can get either high explosive trap or implosive trap. Unnatural causes to make your damage over time effects do more damage. Emergency salve. Roar of sacrifice. Instruct your pet to protect a friendly target from critical strikes. It's a very interesting talent that they added there. I don't remember that ever being a talent before. And then bursting shot and scatter shot. Over on the survival tree, we have kill command, wildfire bomb, of course, raptor strike, mongoose bite. There's butchery. There's flanking strike. Some of the other stuff here, like Sick'em and Bloodseeker. And Fury of the Eagle is way over here. There's Coordinated Assault and Spearhead. I don't remember that being a thing over there. But maybe it might be new. Because I think we used to use Flanking Strike, but, you know, I guess now it's a new thing that we can use as well. I'm very curious about how this is going to feel and work. And what the top builds are going to be, considering that I'm hearing a lot of good things about survival. Now let's, of course, look at the most popular spec that we see all the time and everywhere. Beast Mastery. So, we got Kill Command up here, Barb Shot, Cobra Shot. There's Multi-Shot. Down here is where you can get... I'm trying to see where it is. I'm looking for the talent that lets you have... Oh, right here. It's just Animal Companion right here. So it's just right here. After you get Kill Command, you can just go ahead and grab Animal Companion right away. Gotcha. Wild Call. There's Beast Cleave. Improved Kill Command. There's Alpha Predator. There's Stomp. There's Kill Cleave. There's... Dire Beast is over here now. Dire Frenzy is over here. Huntmaster's Call is over here. Oh, look at this. This is funny. Huntmaster's Call. Every 3 casts of Dire Beast will sound the Horns of Valor, summoning either Hati or Fenrir to battle. Hati will increase the damage of all your pets by 6%, and Fenrir will pounce your primary target, inflicting a heavy bleed that deals damage over 8 seconds. I'm laughing about this because Fenrir is my pet on my main hunter here. As you can see, I already have Fenrir as a pet. So I'm just curious, am I going to get another Fenrir to show up because of this? That's funny. Also, as far as Hati... Okay, hold on. Where's the stable guy? Gotta try to remember... Excuse me, Orgrimmar Grunt, where is the stable master so I can take a look at my pets as a hunter? Oh, I'll mark the location. Victory! He's way over there. This is going to be a chance to show off the direwolf here, being able to do skywriting. Whee! I love that this is a thing. I love it so much. Whee! Alright, so, when it comes to my stable, by the way, look at the new stable. Look at how it looks now. Doesn't this look so much nicer and better? Look at how the stable interface here looks. You can be able to select your pets right here, take a look at them. You can be able to, this is where you can change their names if you want. You can see what type of pet they are. You can be able to see what family they're part of. You can see their special abilities, whether or not you want to put their stable or release them. You can be able to select, okay, which of these do I want to put right here? And then you can be able to look at the different ones, which are, you can have separated into categories, like these are my cunning pets, these are my ferocity pets, and these are my tenacity pets, and there's Hati. Because of course I have Hati. Of course I do. I also have Skill. And of course I have Soraka as well. I have Elegon as well. I also have Horadon, who still has all that stuff from the raid. I don't know if there's a way you can get him without all that stuff on it. I don't know. I haven't gotten Hundasa yet, which I imagine some people are more forgiving about you being able to do that now compared to back then when they were trying to get the mount. But yeah. I don't have the, what's his name? Locknock, or what, that spirit beast cat from Wrath. I don't have him yet. I have yet to actually see him spawn. So, at some point I would like to, but yeah. I just found it amusing that this is now a talent here, considering that I already have them as actual pets here. So there's Bestial Wrath. Barrage is here in the Beast Mastery tree, which is very amusing. Although I think it's also part of the Marksman tree, but we'll look at that in a second. Call of the Wild is over here. Bloodshed is over here. So yeah, massive changes in terms of repositioning different talents and such for Beast Mastery. Marksman. Yep, Barrage is right here in the Marksman tree. There's Aim Shot, Rapid Fire, Multi-Shot right at the beginning there. Chimera Shot and Volley. There's True Shot. Lone Wolf is down here, 5% if you don't have an active pet. For those of you who care about that. So, yeah, nothing super flashy or any of that here, honestly. Like, at least I don't think so. Let's just say there's nothing down here that's going to make you just go like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, or like, that's brand new, or anything like that, At least I don't think so. Right now, the reason I'm using Survival instead of Beast Mastery, by the way, is because I actually was able to get a better... this is the only range weapon my Hunter has right now, is just this right here. So I was able to get a better melee weapon instead of a range weapon. So that's why I started playing some more Survival on this Hunter here. In case you're curious why I was playing Survival instead of Beast Mastery. That's why. Alright, so now with just a couple classes left. Let's look at the Rogue, which I don't think got that many changes, actually. Actually, no, I take that back. When I looked at the Assassination Tree, there was definitely one change I noticed, which I think is really cool. So, from what I could see, not that much when it comes to changes over here. When it comes to the Assassination Tree, although it looks like Shiv here, but I don't remember if that was a baseline thing before. As far as the Assassination Tree over here, I mean, there's still some stuff that is in their same places and such here. But one of the things I noticed, look at this. Serrated Bone Spikes. It's a passive now. Prepare a Serrated Bone Spike every 30 seconds, stacking up to 3. Rupture will spend a stack to embed a bone spike in its target. So, yeah, you don't have to, like, cast Bone Spike anymore. It just passively does it whenever you use Rupture, which seems pretty cool. I like that they are doing this thing where it's like, hey, we're going to make these things that you used to have to cast as an ability, and we're just going to make it a passive now. I like that approach. So you don't have to worry about it or think about it anymore. It's just doing it on its own while you focus on doing other stuff. So as far as the subtlety tree, gosh, I'm not sure. Again, Rogue is my worst class, and I barely play Rogue. Keep it rolling. Interesting. 7-minute cooldown. Increase the remaining duration of your active Roll the Bones combat enhancements by 30 seconds. A 7-minute cooldown. Wow. Blade Rush. The ability from Legion is gone. Interesting. Not much I can really say when it comes to Rogue, because, like I said, it's the class I played the least. Also, I just realized that was Outlaw I was looking at. Of course, there was no dagger ability, because it was... The Dreadblades thing is gone, though. They did remove the Dreadblades ability for Outlaw. Now, as far as subtlety... Also, I like that it's just building on my energy. Oh, wait, that's right. Of course it does that. For some reason, I confused energy with rage for a moment. I don't know why I did that. As far as the subtlety tree... I mean, Gloomblade is here. There's Secret Technique. There's Shadow Blades. Let's see. There's the Shuriken Tornado. Let's see. Oh, there's Sepsis. Okay. There's Flagellation. There's Gormaw's Bite. Okay, so Gormaw's Bite is still here. I was curious about that. Now, here's something I'm curious about. Where is, wasn't it called Black Powder? Is Black Powder gone? Or did they just make that like a passive thing? Because I'm not seeing it. Interesting. Well, I mean, it's something I'll let the rogue mains out there worry about and figure out, right? Because God knows, I certainly don't play rogue because of how bad I am at it. And last but not least, the Evoker. Which, from what I could tell, didn't get that many, if any, changes at all, from what I could notice. But then again, I haven't really messed with my Evoker that much at all anyway. So again, from what I could see here, it didn't seem like at least Devastation here got any changes, because all my stuff was basically in the same spot as before, from what I could tell. Preservation. Alright, so apparently some things got changed here. I think they decided to go ahead and make some things just 1 point instead of 2, from what I could see. Although that's still 2 points. Again, I'm not really entirely sure about what exactly got changed here when it came to preservation. And augmentation, the polarizing spec of the game. Looks like it didn't get changed at all, because everything is still in place from where it was before. So, so it looks like Evoker didn't get changed either. So that's my look at the various different classes. I'm pretty sure that's all of them. I don't think I left any of the classes out. But yeah, there are some classes and specs I definitely want to play more of, like Demo, Warlock, and Unholy DK. But my Demon Hunter will still be my main. But I definitely also, that's clearly a bug, because she's supposed to have 2 swords on her back and pull them off, and it's only showing 1 for some reason. So that's a bug. But then again, there's a bunch of bugs in this pre-batch. So anyways, that's my look at some of the classes I wanted to go ahead and show off to you guys, and I will see you guys next time.